And we're back, guys. An amazing weekend of sports. The UFC card was great. Tennis was great today. Coco and Zachary in the finals. Stay tuned for a lock for that one. And we have boxing. Now, listen, guys. Jake Paul taking on Nate Diaz. This was classic, one for the books. Now, let's go back a bit. It started with the win over Nate Robinson, right? And listen, Nate. You came out there, you were winning the fight, but you can't play boxing. It's about timing and patience. He got rocked and he got put to sleep. And listen, Nate, you can't start boxing for 3 months and think you're going to beat someone that's been boxing for a couple of years with the best trainers. The Paul brothers have hired the best boxing trainers. These guys take this thing serious. The amount of quality coaches they've had. They had Mayweather Sr. in their camp for one part, but he knocked out Nate Diaz. That really got the buzz started around the boxing world, and we saw him fight Tyron Woodley. I went to both of those fights. I might load up some clips from that. And Woodley, again, looking for the sweepstakes. He had Paul rocked in that fight, and when he backed off of him, I said, okay, there's something in the contract there, because he could have easily stopped Paul. He had him dazed against the ropes and backed off. He wanted the $2 million payday. He went on to fight Anderson Silva. He lost to Fury, an actual boxer, but Anderson Silva, again, the retirement sweepstakes. And then here we are against Nate Diaz. Nate Diaz signing up for the retirement sweepstakes. And I don't blame them. These guys take a lot of beating in the UFC. And Nate Diaz, I felt, should have retired a long time ago. Listen to him speak back in the day. He could get his words out without a problem. Now he's just stuttering all over the place. You can see the brain damage, the nerve damage. The big talk about Errol Spence now is the nerve damage from the car accident. He was ejected from his Ferrari at over 100 miles per hour. Look at him speak and do interviews before the car accident and then after. Clearly suffered brain damage. And I'll be honest with you guys, I boxed for 7 years. When I stopped boxing, my motor skills picked up dramatically. Not that I was stuttering words, but it's like sometimes you know what you want to say, it just doesn't come out. And that's from taking punches to the head and being in the gym a lot. A lot of times you're sparring every day. You're sparring heavyweights, cruiserweights. Look, I'm middleweight to welterweight. I'm sparring cruiserweights and heavyweights every day in the gym because a lot of times that's the only people you can get your work with. I remember knocking down a cruiserweight. This guy was like 40 pounds heavier than me. But yeah, when you stop fighting, really, I mean, look at Mayweather, the best defensive fighter of all time. And he clearly has brain damage, and he never took a beating. Mayweather didn't take a beating like that. And he has brain damage because a lot of it comes from the sparring. He stutters his words. Look at Holyfield, very bad. A lot of the fighters do take a lot of brain damage. And I felt Nate Diaz should have retired a long time ago, but clearly Paul wins this fight. I'd probably I gave Nate Diaz maybe 4 rounds. I think he was very active, but just too slow for Paul, just timing him and just teeing off on him, just landing the cleaner, stronger blows in this fight, and he clearly won. But Nate Diaz doing a lot of pity pat. I do felt that Nate, he didn't embarrass himself. He didn't really go out like a sucker, but he got outclassed by the younger, fresher boxer. I mean, Nate Diaz is not a boxer. I think in the UFC his stand-up game was all right, but he was the type of person to take one big blow and come back with 2. He was really the type that he would take it and dish it, and I don't really like that style because the name of the game is to not be hit. And when we're talking about stand-up game in the UFC, I think on the women's side, Caitlin Chukagian, if that's how you say her name, I think her stand-up is really solid. I love how she sticks and moves. And I think Max Holloway on the men's side, I think he's probably has the best stand-up game. Now, of course, there's weight classes, but an overall stand-up game, I think Max Holloway is by far the best. And look, he beat up Brian Ortega so bad that he literally, in the middle of the fight, stopped and said, Ortega, this is how you block. Put your hands up like this. That was embarrassing. And Ortega and Yair Rodriguez, they've never had a really good stand-up game, but I feel they're working on it. But listen, guys, back to the fight here. Jake Paul, I love these guys. Huge LeBron fans. They're from Cleveland, and they have hired some of the best trainers in the game. And look, Tyson Fury, the heavyweight champ, he hired Sugar. I was talking to Sugar the other day, and I think Sugar's an amazing coach. Tyson Fury's coach, Sugar, really helped improve his game. And Tyson Fury has probably the best stand-up game right now of all heavyweights, but I think he's ducking Usyk. What do you guys think? But yes, yeah, that's it, guys. Paul beats Nate Diaz, unanimous decision. What's next for Diaz? He said he'll fight anyone. What's next for Paul, though? Who is he gonna fight? I don't know, guys. Probably another MMA fighter. Look, it's the Jake Paul sweepstakes. Now, I did go see Logan fight against Mayweather in Miami. Now, that was entertaining. Mayweather outclassed him, but I was gonna go to this fight, but I said, it's gonna be a circus. I'll watch it on TV, and that's exactly what I did. We'll see you guys tomorrow for the tennis finals. Jake Paul destroys Nate Diaz. That's the story tonight. See you soon.